from a mine foreman's recorder capturing his final lullaby as tons of rock sealed him 800 feet underground, to a hurricane survivor's phone documenting her last moments with her dying father as their home collapsed.
Palms are almost flat. The breeze just keeps hammering the glass.
These are goodbye recordings left by people who knew they were about to die, starting with a veteran miner who used his safety recorder to leave behind 23 years of love in just minutes. It was September 14, 2016, 6:47 a.m., and the pre-dawn darkness still clung to the Copper Ridge Mine in Butte, Montana, as William "Bill" O'Connor descended into the earth for what would become his final shift. At 48, the mine foreman had spent over 25 years navigating the underground tunnels, his weathered hands and keen instincts keeping countless workers safe in one of America's most dangerous professions. Bill carried his standard-issue voice recorder, a device he used religiously to document safety concerns and maintain communication with surface crews during emergencies. The Copper Ridge Mine had been operational since 1952, carved deep into the Montana mountainside to extract copper ore that fueled America's industrial growth. Bill had started working there as a young man of 23, fresh out of high school and eager to follow in his father's footsteps. The mine had provided steady employment for 3 generations of O'Connor men, each learning the dangerous trade from their predecessors and developing an almost supernatural ability to read the mountain's moods. Over the years, Bill had worked his way up from entry-level miner to shift supervisor and finally to foreman, a position that made him responsible for the safety of over 200 workers across 3 shifts. His colleagues respected his judgment and trusted his decisions, knowing that Bill's conservative approach to safety had prevented countless accidents during his tenure. He had a reputation for shutting down operations at the first sign of trouble, a practice that sometimes frustrated management, but had earned him the unwavering loyalty of the men who worked under his supervision. Bill's personal life had been shaped by the demands and dangers of mining, but he had found happiness with his wife Sarah, a local teacher who understood the risks of his profession. They had raised 2 daughters together, both of whom had chosen careers far from the mining industry. Much to Bill's relief, his greatest joy came from his twin granddaughters, 5-year-old Emma and Sophia, who would run to greet him after each shift with hugs that washed away the stress and danger of his underground work. The morning began like thousands before it, with Bill conducting his routine safety inspection of Tunnel 7.
Hairline crack, left wall, timbers bowing maybe half an inch, creak at joint.
A section that had shown concerning structural stress in recent weeks. Bill's experienced eye noticed the subtle signs that others missed. Small pebbles scattered across the tunnel floor, the faint groaning of stressed timber supports, and hairline cracks in the rock face that seemed to widen each day. The first warning came at 7:23 a.m. when Bill's recorder captured the sound of settling rock, a low rumble that experienced miners recognize as nature's final warning. Bill immediately radioed the surface, his voice calm but urgent, as he reported the deteriorating conditions and requested immediate evacuation of the lower tunnels. 3 other miners working nearby heard his transmission and began moving toward the main shaft. The catastrophic collapse began without further warning, a thunderous roar that shook the entire mountain as millions of tons of rock shifted and fell. Bill's recorder captured the exact moment when the tunnel ceiling gave way, the deafening crash followed by an eerie silence broken only by the sound of settling debris. The main shaft was completely blocked, trapping Bill and his 3 colleagues 800 feet underground with limited air supply and no hope of immediate rescue. In the suffocating darkness that followed, Bill activated his voice recorder and began what he knew would be his final messages to the world above. His voice remained steady despite the desperate circumstances, years of leadership training allowing him to maintain composure even as dust filled his lungs. The recording captured Bill's methodical approach to his final hours, as he provided detailed instructions about life insurance policies, mortgage payments, and his specific wishes for his twin granddaughters' education funds. As the hours passed and their air supply dwindled, Bill's final recording became something extraordinary. He began singing the same lullaby he had performed for his daughters decades earlier, his voice echoing through the collapsed tunnel as he hoped his granddaughters might someday hear their grandfather's love expressed through song. The recorder captured every note, every breath, every moment of a man choosing to fill his final minutes with beauty rather than despair. Rescue teams worked frantically for 6 days, drilling through solid rock and navigating unstable debris fields in their desperate attempt to reach the trapped miners. When rescue workers finally reached the collapsed section, they found Bill's voice recorder intact among the debris, its memory card preserving his final messages in perfect digital clarity. The mine was permanently closed following the tragedy, and Sarah O'Connor played excerpts of his final lullaby at his memorial service, bringing hundreds of mourners to tears and establishing a scholarship fund for mining engineering students focused on worker safety innovations. It was September 10th, 2017, 2:15 p.m., and Hurricane Irma's outer bands were already lashing the Florida Keys as Maria Gonzalez made the fateful decision to remain in her family's beachfront home in Key Largo. At 34, the elementary school teacher had sent her 2 young children to safety with relatives inland, but she couldn't abandon her 78-year-old father, who refused to leave the house he had built with his own hands 4 decades earlier. Maria began recording video messages on her phone.
We got this. The kids will see this later and know we were okay.
As the storm intensified, initially documenting the hurricane's approach for her family's peace of mind. Maria had grown up in this house, watching her father Carlos transform a simple concrete block structure into a beautiful family home that had weathered dozens of hurricanes over the decades. Carlos had immigrated from Cuba in the 1970s, bringing with him the construction knowledge and hurricane preparation techniques that had kept his family safe through countless storms. The house featured reinforced windows, storm shutters, and elevated construction designed to withstand the worst weather the Atlantic could produce. As a single mother working 2 jobs to support her children, Maria had moved back into her childhood home 3 years earlier when her father's health began declining. Carlos suffered from emphysema and required constant oxygen support to breathe comfortably. The house had been modified to accommodate his medical needs, with oxygen concentrators in multiple rooms and backup tanks stored throughout the property. Hurricane Irma had been tracking toward the Florida Keys for days, with meteorologists predicting catastrophic storm surge and winds exceeding 150 miles per hour. Mandatory evacuation orders had been issued for the entire island chain, but Carlos had refused to leave, insisting that his house had survived Hurricane Andrew and would withstand whatever Irma could deliver. Maria had spent hours trying to convince him to evacuate, but his stubborn pride and attachment to the home he had built made him immovable. The afternoon started with Maria's phone capturing routine storm preparations as she and her father secured loose items and checked their emergency supplies. Her father, weakened by emphysema and dependent on an oxygen concentrator, moved slowly through the house he had designed to withstand typical Florida storms. The early recordings showed Maria's characteristic optimism.
Almost flat. The breeze just keeps hammering the glass.
Her teacher's instincts leading her to narrate the experience as if conducting a science lesson for her absent children about hurricane behavior and safety procedures. As the afternoon progressed, the storm's intensity began exceeding all forecasts, transforming from a dangerous but manageable hurricane into a catastrophic weather event that would reshape the Florida Keys forever. Maria's phone documented the gradual escalation, from moderate winds and rain to the terrifying fury of a Category 5 hurricane making direct landfall. Warning signs escalated rapidly as the storm's intensity exceeded all forecasts, with Maria's phone documenting wind speeds that bent palm trees horizontal and sent debris flying past their windows like missiles. The recordings captured the moment when their power failed, plunging the house into an eerie twilight broken only by the glow of her phone's screen. Her father's oxygen concentrator fell silent, forcing him to rely on a portable tank with limited capacity, while 150-mile-per-hour winds began testing the structural limits of their supposedly hurricane-proof home. The critical moment came when storm surge began flooding their ground floor, Maria's camera capturing the surreal sight of ocean water rushing through their front door and rising with terrifying speed. Her phone recorded the sound of windows exploding under pressure.
This is unreal.
The crash of their roof being torn away piece by piece, and her father's labored breathing as his oxygen supply dwindled. Maria continued recording even as she helped her father to the second floor, her voice remaining calm and loving despite the chaos surrounding them. The final videos showed Maria holding her unconscious father as floodwater reached the second story, her phone somehow continuing to function as their world collapsed around them. The camera captured the moment when the house's foundation shifted, walls cracking and furniture floating in the rising water that would soon claim both their lives. Maria's last coherent words were directed toward her children, expressing her love and pride, while water lapped at the edges of her phone's waterproof case. Search and rescue teams found Maria and her father 3 days after the storm passed, their bodies discovered in what remained of the second-floor bedroom where they had made their final stand. Maria's phone was recovered from the debris, its waterproof case having preserved every moment of their final hours in heartbreaking detail. The videos became part of a comprehensive hurricane preparedness campaign, showing the human cost of ignoring evacuation orders and the unpredictable nature of storm surge flooding. It was March 22, 2015, 9:30 a.m., and the First National Bank of Spokane was experiencing its typical quiet Saturday morning when Jennifer Walsh arrived for her weekend shift. At 29, the part-time bank teller was balancing her work schedule with nursing school classes, determined to build a career in healthcare while planning her upcoming wedding to college sweetheart David Chen. Jennifer always kept her phone hidden beneath the counter, using quiet moments to text David about wedding preparations and her excitement about their future together. Jennifer had been working at the bank for 3 years while pursuing her nursing degree, a demanding schedule that required careful time management and unwavering determination. Her shifts at the bank provided steady income that helped pay for her education, while her studies consumed most evenings and weekends. Despite the challenging schedule, Jennifer maintained her characteristic optimism and dedication, viewing each obstacle as a stepping stone toward her dream of becoming a pediatric nurse. The relationship between Jennifer and David had blossomed during their undergraduate years at Eastern Washington University, where they had met in a chemistry class and discovered a shared passion for helping others. David was completing his residency in emergency medicine, working brutal hours at Sacred Heart Medical Center, while Jennifer pursued her nursing degree. Their wedding was planned for the following summer, a celebration they had been organizing during stolen moments between work and study sessions. The bank where Jennifer worked had been a fixture in the Spokane community for over 2 decades, serving a quiet suburban neighborhood where serious crime was virtually unknown. The branch operated with minimal security, relying on its reputation and location to deter criminal activity. Saturday shifts were particularly peaceful, with only a handful of customers conducting routine banking business, while most of the city enjoyed their weekend activities. The morning routine proceeded normally, with Jennifer processing transactions for the handful of customers who conducted banking business on weekends. The branch operated with minimal minimal staffing on Saturdays, just Jennifer at the teller window and branch manager Robert Hayes working in his back office. Security consisted only of surveillance cameras with no panic buttons or armed guards to protect the small suburban location. Jennifer had been using her phone to record voice memos for David throughout the morning, sharing her thoughts about their honeymoon plans and her excitement about their upcoming life together. The voice recording feature had become their way of staying connected during busy periods when text messages weren't practical. The atmosphere changed instantly when two masked men entered the bank at 10:47 a.m., their aggressive movements and visible weapons immediately transforming the peaceful morning into a life-threatening situation. Jennifer's phone, already recording a voice memo she had started for David about their honeymoon plans, continued capturing audio as the robbers took control of the bank and forced her and Mr. Hayes to comply with their demands. Her hidden device documented every word of the 4-hour ordeal that followed. The hostage situation escalated when police surrounded the building, trapping the robbers inside with their captives and creating a standoff that would last until mid-afternoon. Jennifer's phone recorded her whispered messages to David, spoken during brief moments when her captors were distracted or arguing among themselves. The audio captured her remarkable composure as she expressed her love, shared memories of their relationship, and offered guidance for his future if she didn't survive the day. The recording documented the increasing desperation of the robbers as police negotiators attempted to establish communication, their demands becoming more erratic and violent as the situation deteriorated.
Back ready. Let's go. Move.
Jennifer's phone captured the sound of breaking glass, shouted commands, and the growing tension that filled the small bank as afternoon shadows lengthened. Her final whispered words were directed toward David, expressing her gratitude for their time together and her hope that he would find happiness even if she couldn't be part of his future. The standoff ended tragically when police stormed the building after negotiations broke down, Jennifer's phone recording the chaos of the final assault that claimed her life in the crossfire. The device continued running for several minutes after the shooting stopped, capturing the sounds of emergency responders and the devastating silence that followed.
Down on the floor. Back ready. Let's go. Move.
David received the phone from investigators weeks later, along with the heartbreaking audio record of his fiancée's final hours. Jennifer's hidden recording provided crucial evidence for the investigation, helping prosecutors understand the timeline of events and the robbers' actions throughout the hostage situation. David played excerpts of her final messages at what would have been their wedding date, transforming the planned celebration into a memorial service that honored her memory. The bank implemented comprehensive security upgrades following the tragedy, including panic buttons, armed security, and enhanced communication systems designed to prevent similar hostage situations. It was January 8th, 2014, 7:45 a.m., and fresh powder snow covered the backcountry slopes of Rocky Mountain National Park as Tom Chen prepared for a solo skiing expedition into the remote wilderness areas he had explored for over a decade. At 31, the software engineer from Denver was an experienced backcountry skier who understood mountain conditions and carried proper safety equipment, including a satellite communicator that allowed him to send text messages from anywhere in the mountains. Despite avalanche warnings rating the danger as considerable, Tom felt confident in his ability to navigate the terrain safely. Tom had discovered backcountry skiing during his college years at the University of Colorado, where weekend trips to the mountains had evolved from casual recreation into a passionate pursuit of untouched powder and pristine wilderness experiences. Over the years, he had developed advanced skills in avalanche assessment, wilderness navigation, and emergency response, months, earning certifications from the American Avalanche Association and completing wilderness first aid training. The relationship between Tom and his girlfriend Lisa had been built around their shared love of outdoor adventures, from rock climbing in the summer to backcountry skiing in the winter. Lisa was an accomplished mountaineer in her own right, but her work schedule as a veterinarian often prevented her from joining Tom's more ambitious expeditions. They had developed a system of regular check-ins during solo trips, using satellite communication to maintain contact even in the most remote locations. The morning began with Tom's routine safety checks, testing his avalanche beacon, probe, and shovel, while reviewing weather reports and slope conditions on his phone.
Forecast looks stable, wind's easing. All right, ready to skin?
His girlfriend Lisa had made him promise to check in every few hours during his solo expedition, a precaution that had become their standard practice during his frequent backcountry adventures. Tom's satellite device showed full signal strength as he began his ascent toward the remote bowl where he planned to make his descent. Tom had chosen this particular area because of its reputation for excellent skiing and relative isolation from other backcountry travelers. The remote location required a challenging approach hike, but the reward was access to untouched powder snow and spectacular mountain scenery. He had skied this area several times before, always with companions, but felt comfortable attempting a solo expedition given his experience and the comprehensive safety equipment he carried. The first signs of instability appeared as Tom reached the ridgeline, his trained eye noticing subtle changes in snow texture and the hollow sound his skis made on certain slopes. Recent wind loading had created dangerous slab conditions, with new snow sitting precariously on older, weaker layers that could fail without warning. Tom documented these observations in text messages to Lisa, sharing his excitement about the perfect powder while acknowledging the challenging conditions he was navigating. The avalanche triggered without warning as Tom began his descent, a massive slab of snow fracturing beneath his skis and carrying him down the steep slope at tremendous speed. His satellite communicator, designed to withstand extreme conditions, continued functioning even as Tom was buried under 8 feet of snow in a narrow gully where the debris had accumulated. The device's GPS coordinates provided his exact location, but the remote terrain made immediate rescue impossible. Trapped in a small air pocket created by his ski poles, Tom used his remaining battery power to send a series of text messages to Lisa and his family.
Murphy needs ball twice a day. Keep him close.
Knowing that rescue teams were unlikely to reach him before his air supply ran out. The messages, sent over a period of 2 hours, provided a heartbreaking account of his final thoughts and feelings as hypothermia gradually overcame him. The final message was sent to Lisa at 3:22 p.m., nearly 6 hours after the avalanche had buried him in the remote mountain wilderness. Tom's words expressed his love for her.
Keep him close. I'm sorry.
And included practical instructions about caring for his dog Murphy, whom he knew would need extra attention during the difficult transition ahead.
Murphy needs ball twice a day.
The satellite device automatically saved each message, creating a digital record of his final hours. Search and rescue teams located Tom's body 2 days later, using GPS coordinates from his final messages to pinpoint his location in the avalanche debris. Lisa received all of Tom's text messages simultaneously when rescue teams recovered his device. The delayed delivery creating an overwhelming flood of emotion as she read his final thoughts in chronological order. The national park increased avalanche education programs and safety requirements for backcountry access following Tom's death, using his story to illustrate the unpredictable nature of mountain conditions and the importance of conservative decision-making. Lisa adopted Murphy as Tom had requested and started a foundation promoting avalanche safety education for outdoor enthusiasts, ensuring that his passion for the mountains would continue inspiring others to pursue their adventures safely.
I love you more than words. Carry that with you.
It was November 15th, 2018, 2:30 p.m., and the afternoon light filtered through the windows of St. Mary's Hospital in Portland, Oregon, as Robert Bobby Martinez sat in his bed, surrounded by the digital recording equipment that would preserve his voice for his children's future. At 42, the construction foreman had been diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer just 6 weeks earlier, the disease progressing so rapidly that doctors could only offer weeks rather than months of remaining life. Bobby had spent those precious weeks creating an extraordinary legacy. Over 50 voice recordings designed to guide and comfort his 4 children through the major milestones he would never witness in person. Bobby's life had been defined by hard work and dedication to his family, values instilled by his immigrant parents, who had sacrificed everything to provide opportunities for their children in America. He had started working construction as a teenager, learning the trade from experienced craftsmen who taught him that quality work was a reflection of personal character. Over 2 decades, Bobby had built a reputation as a skilled foreman who could manage complex projects while maintaining the highest safety standards for his crews. The diagnosis had come as a complete shock to Bobby and his family, as he had always been in excellent health and prided himself on his physical fitness. The aggressive nature of pancreatic cancer meant that treatment options were limited, and doctors had been honest about the poor prognosis from the beginning. Rather than focusing on futile medical interventions, Bobby had chosen to spend his remaining time creating something meaningful for his family's future. Bobby's relationship with his wife Carmen had been the foundation of his adult life, a partnership built on mutual respect, shared values, and unwavering commitment to their children's welfare. They had met in high school and married young, building their life together through years of financial struggle and professional growth. The 4 Martinez children ranged in age from 8 to 16, each with distinct personalities and dreams that Bobby had nurtured through years of patient guidance and encouragement. The project had begun as a simple idea suggested by the hospital's grief counselor, but Bobby had transformed it into something far more comprehensive with the help of his wife, Carmen. Together, they had created a detailed schedule of recordings for each child's future birthdays, graduations, first dates, wedding days, and moments when they might need their father's guidance most. Bobby's voice, though weakened by chemotherapy and the advancing disease, remained strong with love and wisdom as he addressed each child's unique personality and dreams.
I want you to remember simple things. Be kind when it's hardest. Laugh when you can.
The recording sessions took place during Bobby's better hours, when pain medication allowed him to speak clearly and his energy levels permitted extended conversations with the digital recorder. Carmen helped organize the messages by date and occasion, creating a system that would allow her to share Bobby's words at precisely the right moments in their children's lives. Each recording began with Bobby identifying the specific occasion and child he was addressing, his construction worker's practical nature evident in the organized approach he brought to this emotional task. The messages ranged from practical advice about handling bullies at school to profound reflections on love, integrity, and the importance of family bonds. Bobby's voice carried the weight of a lifetime's experience, distilled into carefully chosen words that would resonate with his children as they grew and faced their own challenges. The recordings revealed Bobby's deep understanding of each child's personality and potential as he addressed their individual strengths and weaknesses with the insight of a devoted father. For Isabella, he recorded messages about choosing a college major, handling the pressures of academic achievement, and maintaining her compassionate nature in a competitive world. Carlos received guidance about balancing athletics with academics, dealing with disappointment, and developing leadership skills that would serve him throughout life. The final recording session took place on November 28th, just 2 days before Bobby's death. His voice barely above a whisper, but his message crystal clear as he addressed Carmen directly. This last message was intended for her alone, expressing his gratitude for their 15 years of marriage and the 4 children who had made his life complete.
Hey, my love, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for every day.
Bobby died peacefully at home on November 30th, surrounded by his family and secure in the knowledge that his voice would continue guiding his children long after his physical presence was gone. Carmen carefully preserved the recordings according to Bobby's detailed instructions, creating a digital archive that would allow her to share his messages at precisely the moments he had envisioned. The voice letters became a source of strength for the Martinez family as they navigated their grief and adjusted to life without Bobby's physical presence. Carmen played the recordings according to his schedule, allowing each child to hear their father's voice on birthdays, first days of school, and other significant occasions. The hospital's grief counseling program adopted Bobby's approach as a model for other terminal patients, providing recording equipment and guidance for families facing similar situations. Carmen shared their story with local media, hoping to encourage other families to take advantage of the time they had left together, rather than focusing solely on medical treatments. Bobby's recordings demonstrated the power of preparation and intentionality in facing death, showing how a dying parent could continue providing guidance and comfort long after their physical departure.
I want you to remember simple things. Be kind when it's hardest.
Thanks for watching. Click the next video to watch more like this.